Because they disrespected God's messenger. That's exactly right. They disrespected it. Now, Miriam disrespected it. Aaron disrespected it. No matter who you are, Christian or not Christian, you've got to still bring respects to God and respect what He's doing. Or suffer the consequence. It's either receive it or go into judgment. Either one you want to. How I can stand with testimony for hour after hour of what I've seen in my lifetime, what I've seen in the other countries, and other parts of the nations and so forth, the things that's taking place. But to omit that, just so that you'll get the idea of what I'm trying to say to you, you must respect it. I've seen young people sit in a meeting and snigger and laugh in a meeting, and less than 24 hours be crushed into the streets. I've seen young people sit in a meeting in 1 year when I was in a place, and next, maybe within 6 months, go back to the same place, and practically every one of them was gone or laying stricken somewhere with diseases and things. That's right, you have to respect it. I remember a certain young girl one night, Tennessee, and I was going out the door, preaching in a big Baptist church. I was going out the door, and I felt led that night to call her to come to Christ. Well, she laughed in my face when I called her to come to Christ. She had to be one of the deacon's daughters. And stand at the door that night, she waited for me, and I come out. She said, I want you to know something right now. Don't you never embarrass me like that again. I said, God was calling you. She said, nonsense. I'm young. So I got plenty of time for that. Said, my daddy's got enough religion for all of us at home. I said, not enough for you, sister. Everyone has to have their own religion. She said, if I want anybody to talk to me about that, I'll get somebody who's got some sense, not somebody like you. I said, go say what you wish to. Don't bother me. But someday you'll regret it. Not long after I passed through the same city, here she come down the street with her underskirts hanging down, slopping with a cigarette in her hand, and offered me a drink of whiskey. Same thing. Here's her testimony. She said, you remember the night you called there? I said, that was the truth. She said, the Spirit of God was testifying to me that night, trying to get me to come. And said, since then I could see my mother's soul frying hell like a pancake and laugh at it. That's what happened. See? You've got to respect God. That's all. You've got to do it, brother. That's all. Jezebel disrespected it. And remember another time there's some irreverent children that had been raised up in a home. Elijah, after his days, of course, the people hated him because he called that famine in the land. There were some people that taught their children that Elijah, a man like that, been translated and taken into heaven. He got killed somewhere and they just buried him and hid him. They didn't believe it. So Elisha took his place. Now he was a messenger of the day now, after Elijah had been taken up. So he passed down through a certain city, and the children, little children of that city, run out making fun of him and said, say, you old bald head, why didn't you go up like Elijah did? See, they didn't believe Elijah went up. There it is. It wasn't the disrespecting the man, it was disrespecting his message. He was a successor to Elijah. He had the anointing, the Spirit of Elijah was up on him. He went right up there and done the very same things that Elijah did.
All right.
Hallelujah.
Amen.
Jesus said, he that believeth on me, the works that I do shall he do also.
Amen. Hallelujah.
Yeah. These signs shall follow them.
All right.
They disrespected it. And they disrespected Elijah
Hallelujah.
because he believed in Elisha. Because the Spirit was up on him and he turned around and smoked the Jordan with his mantle and opened up the Jordan. Went up and done the same kind of miracles that Elijah did. And even all the preachers up there at the school of the prophets said the Spirit of Elijah rests up on Elisha. The noise they brought in the country. And the people, I bet they laughed around and said, look at this. That bunch of holy rollers, fanatics, saying that man went to heaven without dying. Horses come down. We didn't see any. Certainly they didn't. Certainly not. They didn't. We didn't see any horses. We didn't hear any chariots anywhere. Nonsense. The old fellow died and they buried him, and then they're trying to make a lot of to-do over it. Just like they say today, the same thing. Like they said about Jesus. They said, well, they come and stole his body at night time. They even paid soldiers to testify that. But he raised from the dead. And Elijah was tucked up in a chariot of fire with horses of fire. And when this young prophet walking along there, going down through the city, and he lost his hair as a young man. He was going down, so these little children run behind him and said, hey, why didn't you go up with Elijah? Said, you old bald head, you. See? And they were was given disrespect. And what did Elijah do? He turned in the power of the Spirit and cursed those children. What happened? 2 she-bears come from the woods and killed 42 of them. Right. Disrespect, irreverent. You can't do that. You've got to respect God. If they had them kids that said, now, if their father and mother had said, now, look, children, they say that Elijah was taken up. Now, we don't know about that, but anyhow, I don't know whether it's so or not, but I'll tell you, the best thing to do is just don't say nothing about it. Just go ahead. When he passes, we hear he's coming down through the city today. He's going to have a street meeting up there. If he does, if you children on the road to school today meeting, you say, how do you do, Reverend? How do you do, sir? Or something like that. Speak to him. But instead of that, no doubt they've been told at home. Oh, I heard Papa and Mama sit at the table and laugh, and one understands, what do you know? They said that old holy roller was taken up. Did you ever believe anything like that? And they say this little old bald-headed fellow, just as bald-headed as a pumpkin up there, ain't over about 35 years old, and here he's coming down through there. You go to Homer Street and you expect us to believe such nonsense as that. Why, isn't nothing but a little, just a mockery, that's all it is. Because he won't come to our churches. He's just like Elijah was. He won't come to our churches. He'll probably have some kind of witchcraft, hoodoo hopes that he's got like Elijah. They didn't believe him. So the little children was taught that at home. If they'd been taught reverence and respect, they'd have walked out there before that prophet of God and asked for prayer for themselves. But they had been taught to snigger and laugh and to make fun. Not like the children of today. Too many of them today would make fun at a street meeting. They would make fun at the preaching of the gospel. So Elijah cursed them in the name of the Lord. Not because of the children, but because of the irreverent parents that have brought the children up that way. To disrespect God. 2 she-bears come out and kill 42 of them. Now that's irreverence. God demands respect. When they disrespected His prophet, they disrespected Him. No matter how much they didn't believe, they ought to kept their mouth shut. Stay away from it. But no, they had to put in their nickels worth. They had to say something that they ought not have said. And what happened to them? Let's take some people who did respect it. Let's take the Shunammite woman to the same prophet, Elijah. She was actually not an Israelite. She was from Shunammite. But she believed in God. And she seen this man pass through the town, heard him speak. She seen the signs that he done. It's told in history, I don't know whether it's true or not, that one day a bunch of wild dogs was trying to catch a little girl. Now this isn't scripture, it's just a story that I read. And it said the Shunammite woman was standing on the corner, and she saw that these dogs was going to kill this little girl, and this holy man was passing through town, and he raised up his staff to God and cried out for mercy for them little children like that, and the dogs turned and went away from him. Whether it was so or not, sounds like it could be, I don't know. But anyhow, this woman said, when the Bible, when she perceived that this was a holy man, she perceived something had happened. She seen what he was and perceived that he was a holy man from God. And instead of disrespecting him, like Jezebel did, she respected him. She said to her husband, we are well able to do this. I pray thee, let's build him a little house out here somewhere. Let's give him a little place, for he's weary. I watched him, he's getting old. And I noticed his gray hair as it hung down in his beard, his little old staff, his little skinny arms, as he walked along, the little flabby arms like that. And here he come walking along, packing a little cruse of oil on his side with a piece of sheepskin wrapped around him. In the hot sun, his body looked scorched and red. And I pray thee, let's make him a little station to stop here. Let's get the contractor to come out here and build him a little place and put him up, because I perceive that his spirit, by his spirit, he's a holy man. He's a man of God. Oh, what a difference.